Hey, you! Before you watch this, pause the video and subscribe to SemiPro right now.
Who would you say is the best quarterback in football? Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson? Drew Brees? Deshaun Watson? Tom Brady? Not me. I wouldn't say any of those guys. Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFL. Wilson has done more with less talent than any other quarterback in football. Since 2012, Wilson has been the quarterback of the Seahawks, and every single year, Wilson has had a winning record. Legion of Boom behind him or not, Russ has never had a losing year and has only missed the playoffs one time. On top of that, he's only lost in the first round of the playoffs one time. That's success. That's winning. And I don't know about you, but what I look for in a good player and a good quarterback is a consistent winner. And there is no more consistent winner than Russell Wilson. Tom Brady has an argument, but he hasn't been at the top of his game for a few years now. Russell Wilson is only 31. He still has half of his career left to play, and he hasn't lost a step. Wilson has never had any help on the outside, at least not as far as NFL talent is concerned. Let's recount the number one receivers that Russell Wilson has worked with. A washed up Sidney Rice, Golden Tate before he broke out, Doug Baldwin, and Tyler Lockett. Don't get me wrong, these guys are fine, but none of these guys are legitimate number ones, especially not on playoff teams, and certainly not on Super Bowl squads. So, how has Russ mitigated the hardships of never having an elite receiving corps? He's a perfectly well-rounded quarterback. That's the answer. He can make any throw on the football field. He can go deep, intermediate, and underneath. He can evade any rush with speed, elusivity, and creativity. There is nothing that this guy can't do, and that is what sets him apart from the rest of the NFL. No other quarterback in football is as complete as Russ. Mahomes doesn't have the speed, Jackson doesn't have the arm, Brees doesn't have the legs, Watson doesn't have the decision making, and Brady doesn't have the athleticism. So let's take a deeper dive into the 2019 season and why Wilson will be great again in 2020. Prior to last year, Wilson signed a well-deserved contract that made him the highest paid quarterback in football. And then during the season, he won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week twice, which was tied for first among every player in the conference. Not to mention, the Seahawks were pretty damn good last year. They finished 11-5, and I thought they were the biggest threat to win the NFC outside the 49ers. The playoffs proved a little bit otherwise, as they lost a back-and-forth affair against the Packers that, for some reason, everyone seems to forget about. Seattle last season almost seems to be completely forgotten, because they always seem to play second fiddle to the 49ers. But Seattle was one of the best teams in the NFC, and they were almost solely led by Russ. I'm going to use PFF as a source to prove my point. Russ was the number one QB in the NFL, and he didn't have nearly any help around him. He had one receiver in the top 32, and didn't have an offensive lineman until number 23. That isn't exactly an 11-5 offensive core. Russ carried that team, and carried that offense. And in 2020, he's finally getting a little more help. It isn't much, but the Seahawks added Greg Olsen and Philip Dorsett during the offseason. But the main reason why Russ will be the best QB in the league in 2020 is because he has been for years. I don't understand the Russ doubters. You can't argue with winning, and you can't argue with talent. And Russ is both a winner and talented.